today I really am. I'm very excited to introduce you guys to Emily. She's a former colleague of mine. She's been through Leadership Institute training. She's using that training now to promote and grow her nonprofit and do the amazing things that she is doing today. So I want to introduce you guys to our guest speaker today. Emily Berning is the president and co-founder of Let Them Live, a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to saving lives from abortion by financially helping women in crisis pregnancies. In the last year, in the year they've been a nonprofit, they've helped 37 moms cancel their abortions, and 2 of them just gave birth. After graduating from Colorado State University in 2017 with a bachelor's degree in biology, Emily went to work for the Leadership Institute as the Northeast field representative. Emily met her husband Nathan at an LI training, and they soon started Let Them Live. They live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, with their 3 dogs, Rick, Morty, and Squanchy. So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to Emily Berning.
Hi.
How are you today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And the stage is yours. So everyone, Emily Berning.
Hi, everybody. This is so cool. I am so excited to do this. This is a really cool way that I get to share the mission of Let Them Live with you all while we're all sort of locked down. So I hope everybody is hanging in there. I definitely am getting bored, so we've been doing a lot of house projects, but we've had a lot of moms to help. So I'm definitely excited to share some of those stories with you guys. So I'm going to actually just share my screen really quick so you guys can see a presentation that I put together. There we go. So I'm going to first talk just a little bit about how Let Them Live started and kind of our thought process behind starting Let Them Live. And then I'm really going to spend the majority of the time sharing the stories of the women that we've helped because their stories are the reason why we exist. So my husband and I, like Alan said, we started Let Them Live. We met at the Leadership Institute. So it was just the perfect storm for 2 very passionate activists come together for a cause that we both believe in, which is obviously the pro-life cause. So we originally started Let Them Live. I wanted to do a pro-life organization. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with that. And the more Nathan and I thought about it, we realized that there's sort of a gap in the pro-life movement where there isn't a lot of tangible financial support for women that are in crisis pregnancies. And what we found was that 73% of women abort because of financial instability, and that comes from the Guttmacher Institute. And we said, oh my gosh, if 73% of women are having abortions because of finances, we can solve that problem for them. We can help them with their financial problems, help them get back on track, help them with their jobs, and make them feel confident in choosing life. And our whole model came from Oscar Schindler. If you guys have seen the movie Schindler's List, it's based on a man named Oscar Schindler who saved 1,200 Jews from the Holocaust. He basically paid the Nazis so that he could get Jews to work for him so that he could save them. He made it look like the Jews were working for him, but he was actually saving them from dying at the hands of the Nazis. And at the very end of the movie, one of the Jews that he saved comes up to him and hands him a ring, and inscribed it says, "Whoever saves one life saves the world entire." And that's my favorite movie. And when I heard that, that really cemented that I wanted to really save lives through abortion. I didn't want to just post about it on social media. We didn't want to just speak pro-life, we wanted to actually be pro-life. So we actually got tattoos, my husband and I, and it's that quote, "Whoever saves one life saves the world entire." And that's really our kind of unspoken motto at Let Them Live. So I am really just going to jump into the stories of the women that we've helped. I'm going to talk about 4 different women. Their babies were all born in the last month and a half. So those are the 4 that I'm going to focus on, but I will love to take questions about anything, about our nonprofit, all that afterwards. So I'm going to get started here. This is the quote from Julia. So Julia emailed me September 10th, 2019. And this is part of her email. It says, I made an appointment for an abortion because there's no way, oh, I'm kind of blocking my screen here. There's no way I can afford another child, but I don't want to do it. My husband and I both work, but we can't pay our bills on time. Our account stays at a negative amount. Is there any help available for us? I am desperate. So that's the email that I received. And this is when Nathan and I had just started helping a few moms with financial support. So that means paying their bills, paying their rent, groceries, things like that. So this is the email I received from her. Now, this is the text message I received from her just a couple of days ago after she had her baby. So she texted me, she said, I'm so glad this little guy is here. I couldn't imagine him not being here. Thank you for helping women like me. Thank you for letting babies live and saving moms from a lifetime of sadness and regret. You are an angel. So this is her baby, Aidan. Aidan was born on April 8th. And he's kind of given his cute little scowl. But Julia really was in a rough position. I mean, she would send me screenshots of her bank account. They live in New York, which is really expensive. And they just were not making ends meet. And the sad thing about women that are in these situations like Julia is that they don't want to have an abortion. I've heard time and time again from women that they say, I don't want to have an abortion. That's not what I want to do, but I feel like that's my only choice because I don't know how I'm going to provide. So that's where we come in and we say, look, we're going to help you with your finances. You can choose life. It's going to be okay. You don't need to go down that path of having an abortion. This is another mom. Her name is Tesla, and I'll give you a little background on Tesla. So she was referred to us by one of my friends on Facebook, and I reached out to her and she didn't respond to me. She really was pretty much set on an abortion. Her original messages say that she just couldn't afford another baby. That would have been a fifth child for them to raise. I kept texting her and she didn't really respond, and I thought I lost hope. But eventually, she was open to the idea of let them live, supporting her financially throughout her pregnancy. So this is a quote from her from the beginning of when we just barely started helping her. She said, my boyfriend and I are considering abortion because we don't have money to raise a fifth child in our family. And when we see requests like this and we see women saying these things, we know that we can help because they're having an abortion or wanting to have an abortion because of financial reasons, and we can relieve that burden. Thanks to our amazing donors. I don't know if any of our donors are on right now, but if you are, it's great to talk to you. Just all these babies that you're seeing are because of you. So I'm excited to keep showing you guys these awesome pictures. So this picture is not loading. I'm going to read you a text message that Tesla sent me. I'm not sure why that one's not loading. But so after Tesla had her baby, she texted me and she said, let's see if I can find it. I don't know why it's not popping up, but I'll find that later. Basically, the gist of it is that, all my pictures are not loading. Let's see. I don't know if it's my internet, maybe not. He's kind of blurry, but she basically said that he wouldn't be here without us and that he's just so perfect, and she's so happy that she gets to be a mom to him because just last fall she was saying, I have to have this abortion. I can't have this baby. And she's like, looking at him now, I can't believe I ever thought that I would have an abortion. So this is Bryson. He was born April 3rd. So we have a lot of babies that come in quick succession, which is really, really cool. And none of my stuff is loading. Let's see. Alan, maybe it's my internet. I'm not sure. Let's see. Maybe it's just these pictures. I don't know. These are really good pictures.
Yeah, and it may be just your internet, but I can see the best, especially the ones of the babies. I can see them good, so you can keep it rolling.
Okay, Perfect. Okay. So this is a little blurry as well. So I'm going to leave it on Bryson for a second. But so these two moms were kind of easier to work with, I would say, just because maybe their situation wasn't, it was bad, but it was definitely fairly easy to, have them accept our help and to counsel them and things like that. So these next two moms that I'm going to talk about have a very special place in my heart, especially the very last mom. All of these moms are like family to us. I talk to them, I FaceTime them. But this next mom I'm going to talk about, her name is Miriam. And Miriam is a warrior. She is probably the most powerful woman that I know. She's a single mom. And she just had her fourth child, which is the baby that we helped her save. And she does it all by herself. She's trying to go to school. She's working on an internship. She's got all these young kids, and she just presses on. And she texted me. You can't see the text, but I'm going to read it from my phone. She said, I remember having my best friend drive me halfway to the clinic, an hour and 30-minute drive, and thinking, should I do this? My stomach was in knots, and I just needed to think about it a little bit longer before making a permanent decision. I ended up finding you and was given your number. Thank you for helping me make the right decision. I really was so sad at first about having a baby, disappointed in myself, and I felt so alone. And now I'm happy she's going to be here and glad I didn't go through with that. Thank you so much for that. So Miriam, not only did she not have any financial means for providing for her baby, her family all told her to have an abortion. I mean, she had no support, which is the case for a lot of the women that we help. But in this case, her mom was telling her to have an abortion, that if she didn't have an abortion, she was a failure. Her dad was saying the same thing. She called me crying last summer. And it makes me tear up because she didn't have any support. And I could not believe that. We helped her get a laptop for school so she could complete her credits. We're still helping her so that she can finish her degree. We helped her so much financially. And this is her baby girl, Alexi, who was born on March 8th. And this was my last trip before the quarantine all kicked in. So this was in North Carolina. I was able to be in North Carolina when Alexi was born, and I met her the day that she was born, and I held her. And she's just the sweetest baby. And Miriam is just ecstatic that she's here. She didn't think she could do it. The other interesting part about Miriam's story is that she was actually offered money from the National Abortion Federation to have an abortion. So we basically had to come into the situation with her already having funding for an abortion. So that made me realize the importance of this work, that if the other side is funding abortion, we need to fund life. I get a lot of questions on social media about, how is my donation going to help? Or why are you going to be financially supporting her? And that's the reason why, because if we don't financially support these moms and show them that we're there for them, someone else is going to do it, but they're going to do it so that women have an abortion. And so she actually returned those funds, obviously, and she accepted our help. And guarantee those funds that were given to her by the National Abortion Federation, they were not going to walk with her and hold her hand during her pregnancy. They weren't going to do it. They weren't going to hold her hand after her abortion. They weren't going to be there for her to experience this life. With the abortion industry, not to get off on a huge tangent, but it's such a quick thing, just go have the abortion and we'll never make contact with you again. We won't check up on you. We won't be involved in your life. But at Let Them Live, we are so involved. These women are our family. I'm going to know these babies for the rest of my life. And I'm so excited about that. And that just shows the dedication of the pro-life movement. We are dedicated to these women. We are dedicated to meeting them where they're at and helping them in whatever way that they need, in any way that we can make possible. So Alexi's super cute. She is just a little sweetheart. I get pictures all the time from Miriam. I get pictures, she's got an Easter bunny picture of Aidan yesterday. It was so cute. So I just love getting these beautiful pictures. So Kiari, he's the last baby that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to take a little time to talk about his mom's story, because it's very, very, very unique in how we got involved. So Kiari's so cute. He actually doesn't look so much like this anymore. I just FaceTimed his mom 2 days ago, and he is like so chunky now. So Atoria, we were, long story short, Nathan and I were at a conference in San Francisco, and someone came up to our table who is a sidewalk counselor for 40 Days for Life. And she said, hey, what do you guys do? And we said, well, we financially support women that are in immediate danger of abortion. And she said, I have someone that is in that exact situation. She's living in her car. She is almost 20 weeks pregnant. She has no support. The father left her. Is she a candidate for your help? And we said, absolutely. So Nathan reached out to Atoria. She didn't really respond right away. She was she's in a really bad place mentally and physically, living in her car. Eventually she responded to us, and we got on a call with her, and we told her that we could help her. We told her we could get her into a place as soon as possible. We told her, she would not be living in her car anymore at 20 weeks pregnant. We would be able to help her with groceries. We'd be able to help her with any financial need that she had, if she just would not go through without abortion, because I know what abortion not only does to the baby, but abortion hurts women. And I did not want to see her go through that. So the conversation went really well that we had with her while we were counseling her. And she was like so happy that these random people from Fort Wayne, Indiana would help her, because we help women all over the US. She was just floored that some random people would help her. And so we sent her a gift card to Walmart to get some groceries to start with, before we could, set up and start going on all of her financial support. And then I was at the dog park one day. I just remember this moment very distinctly. And Atoria sent Nathan a text, and it said, I can't do this anymore. I'm sending back the gift card. I even with your help, I can't do this. Like, I don't know how I see like a future for myself or for this baby. So she texted us that. She said, I have an abortion scheduled for tomorrow or 2 days from now. And it's a 2-day abortion procedure, paid for by the state of California. And then I'm going to jump off a parking garage. She told us that she was going to have a 2-day abortion procedure and then commit suicide. And I remember looking at Nathan, and we're like, what can we do? She is so desperate, and she is in such a horrible place that we need to help her no matter what. So we ran a fundraiser for her, an emergency fundraiser for her last October. And then Nathan and I booked flights. So this at like 11 p.m. that night, we drove down to Indianapolis, and we hopped on a plane and flew to Sacramento. And we told her we were coming, and we said, we're coming. We're going to be there to support you. We're going to talk you through this. So we got there, we met up with Atoria, and it's like everything changed for her, just having that in-person support. So we hugged her, we talked with her, we cried with her, we assured her that we could help her. We showed her a different way than abortion. Seems like our society just defaults on abortion. Oh, if you're financially struggling, abortion. You live in your car, abortion. You just don't want to be a mom, abortion. You're trying to get your education, abortion. There's no support. So we reassured her that we would help her, and we went house hunting and apartment searching. We found her a place to live. We paid up 6 months rent for her so that she wouldn't have to worry about that while she was, getting more hours at her job and kind of getting back on her feet. And she grew to be family with Nathan and I. And the best part about this story is that on March 2nd, well, a little bit before that, after CPAC, Nathan and I flew out to Sacramento on February 29th to be with Atoria. She invited us to be in the delivery room with her while she was giving birth, both Nathan and I. And I cry when I tell the story because we saw him right after he was born, we saw him. And so we flew to California, and we were there with her while she was going through her contractions. I was holding her hand. I was, she wanted frozen mango, so I gave her frozen mango, and it was just amazing. I don't know everyone's experience, but I don't know of many pro-life organizations where people who lead it get the chance to be in the delivery room, seeing a baby that they helped save from abortion. So that was the most impactful thing. And I was holding this little guy, and it's indescribable, because we are on a journey with these women from, when they're 8 weeks pregnant or even 13 weeks pregnant, throughout their pregnancy journey. And when their baby is born, it comes full circle, and it just hits me. Like this work is really life-saving. We are literally saving lives with financial support, and Kiari is proof, and Alexi and Bryson and Aidan are all proof, and all the babies that are going to be born in the summer. So that was the coolest experience. We got to spend a few days with Kiari, just holding him and loving him. This is my husband and I, when the day that he was born, in the delivery room, of us holding him. And then, gosh, we have so many pictures. I don't think I've ever taken so many pictures in my life, of this baby. And it's just unreal. It's unreal to be able to do this work. I'm very, very thankful to be able to do this work. I am thankful to be a part of, the pro-life movement. I'm thankful to be a part of all of these women's lives. Something that happened with this birth story that is really amazing as well is Atoria's father really wanted to help her during her pregnancy, but he really couldn't. He wasn't in a place to be able to do that. And he actually showed up. When he showed up to the hospital, I said, "Are you Kevin?" And he said, "Yeah." "Are you Emily?" And I said, "Yes." And he just embraced me. We had the biggest hug, and we both started crying our eyes out. And he said, "Thank you for not giving up on my daughter." And that was a really big moment for me too, because in the pro-life movement, sometimes we see the babies that we save and sometimes we don't. And most of the time we don't see the generational impact that abortion has and saving lives from abortion has. We don't necessarily all the time see everybody that's impacted by one life coming into this world. But I got a little glimpse of that, and I'm really, really happy that I could share that with you. I just wanted to tell those stories. Those are the 4 most recent babies, but I would love to open this up to more question and answer, because we get a lot of questions all the time about how our process works, how we came up with this idea, things like that. And I want to kind of throw this up here as well. I know that Alan, they're going to put in the comments a fundraising link. That's a current fundraiser that we are running for a mom. But this is also an opportunity. This up on the screen is like, if you want to become a monthly donor, you can also do that.
Emily, thank you so much for that story. I've heard some of the stories before, and obviously they're very moving, but guys, like I'm almost lost for words, because some people they'll lightly say you're doing the Lord's work or whatever, but you are actually doing the Lord's work. So thank you for the stories, and thank you for the time. And yeah, we have questions coming in. We've had questions coming in the entire time. So thank you for taking time to answer those.
Yeah, absolutely.
One that I'll kind of start off with. Ruby wants to know simply, how do women find you in order to contact you through these times?
Yeah. Hey, Ruby. Okay. So typically there's a few different ways. Sometimes, like I talked about with Atoria, there will be sidewalk counselors and 40 Days for Life counselors that catch these women, going into the abortion clinic. It's that little last sliver of hope before they go in. We have pregnancy resource centers that refer women to us. We started kind of putting our feelers out there with Heartbeat International, so that all of the pregnancy pregnancy resource center networks can contact us when they have a woman that is pregnant and in immediate danger of abortion. We're kind of that ambulance. And then we also have women that do reach out to us, on our social media. And obviously we have a really thorough vetting process for all these women, so that we can make sure that we're giving support where it's really needed. So.
Yeah, that last point was important because personally I was wondering that. And guys, just to let you know as well, we did just post that link in the chat section. So take a look at that. And I mean, guys, you can see the direct impact of your donations as well, because I mean, just like she told all those stories, you're seeing the impact when a child is born, when a life is saved. So I want to encourage you guys to click that link and give as much as you can, and as much as you're willing. So next, actually, Ruby had a follow-up question that was good. So I wanted to touch on that. How long are you able to support these women and families after they give birth?
Yeah. So it really varies from mom to mom because, some of the financial situations are a lot worse than others. For example, like Miriam, we're still helping her. We're helping her, she's trying to finish off her degree so she can get a better job to provide for her kids. So we're paying for a few of her classes. Like, we're helping her out through that. We aren't necessarily like a long-term support. Our goal is during their pregnancy that we will help them get a better job and help them get back on their feet so that they can sort of start taking that financial responsibility back over. But we're not ever just going to say, oh, your baby's born, sorry, we can't help you anymore. If they continue to need a little support, we'll definitely help them. We also do a full registry for all of our moms on Amazon with like 200 items. So, and diaper funds. The last registry we ran raised over $1,100 for diapers for Julia. And she got her registry completed with a crib and everything. So they are prepared material wise also after their baby is born. So.
Got it. And then, speaking a little bit more about after the baby is born and the life is saved, Bernadette wants to know, do you ever bring up adoption when you start the conversation to the women who are financially struggling?
Yes, absolutely. We definitely bring up adoption, and we offer that as an option, like to connect them with an adoption counselor. A lot of people don't know, but most women, at least women that I've worked with and that I've read about and I've seen, when you say that, when you bring up adoption, they give me the opinion that they would rather have an abortion than do adoption, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to people that are pro-life because and aren't necessarily in her situation, because for us, it's like, of course you would do adoption, but the typical response I've seen from women that are in those pregnancy, crisis situations is that they would rather have an abortion than do an adoption. We definitely still offer that as a choice, opposite of parenting. But we get a lot of requests for people that want to adopt babies. But sometimes I just say, we don't really have any moms right now that are wanting to do that. So.
Yeah. And another question just came in. It was anonymous, but they want to know, does your organization have former abortion survivors that offer any counseling?
Oh, yeah. So we actually, our main counselor, she had, so let me clarify, abortion survivors as in like a Gianna Jessen who was almost aborted and survived, or women who've had abortions that are now like helping other women not to have.
The latter, yeah, the second, yeah.
Okay, yeah, so our pregnancy counselor, Nicole, is actually, she's post-abortive, so she has a very unique understanding of where these women, where their mindset is, and can definitely, put herself in their shoes and counsel them appropriately.
Got it, perfect. And then Esther wants to know, do you have a physical facility as of yet?
My home. No. So we kind of pride ourselves on being, we're very like tech savvy. So a lot of our fundraising and all that stuff is over the internet, over social media. We do have a small team of 6 people, but we all work remotely because right now it just wouldn't make sense to spend money on a brick and mortar. We're really efficient and I'm really protective of donor money. And so I don't want to necessarily, have a physical address if we don't really need one. I am sitting at my dining room table right now, so that's kind of our workspace. But maybe someday, it really depends on how we expand and which direction we decide to go, but it's possible.
Yeah. And as a former field rep and working on college campuses, a lot of our attendees today are college students. So this one particularly is a good question. So Joe from the University of Illinois, and I'll kind of rephrase it. He wants to know, what is the most needed basic activism or things college groups can do to help the pro-life community on campus? And then he kind of kept going and said, should we focus on student moms on campus or broaden the support on campus?
Yeah, that's a really good question. College campuses are so diverse. When I was in college, I ran the Students for Life Club. We did a whole range of activism with the pro-life, message, because on a college campus, there are going to be women that are pregnant that are considering abortion. So you should definitely do outreach that way and figure out how to support women being pregnant. We need to get rid of the stigma that you can't be pregnant and be a college student. But it's also really important to have dialogue on a college campus. This is where a lot of people's beliefs are formed. So if you can catch people and you can have a really good conversation with them and help them become pro-life, that conversation could, make that person really pro-life and then become a donor of a pro-life organization or start their own organization. So it's really a domino effect. So I would suggest definitely having dialoguing. You could do things like, I had a really successful event one time where I had, do you think our tax dollars should be going to Planned Parenthood or to a federally qualified health center? And we actually had a Planned Parenthood volunteer vote for a federally qualified health center. So you never know, that you can do a whole bunch of different activism that will be really effective.
Yeah. And guys, Leadership Institute, we actually started offering, or we've been offering activism kits, more specifically to pro-life. We have a flag kit that represents the amount of abortions that are done each year. It's similar to a Cemetery of Innocence event. So just visit leadershipinstitute.org so you can do more pro-life activism on your campus. And then also support Let Them Live, and it'll be all one big full circle, and we can all save lives. So Jessica wants to know, what would be the best way to introduce pro-choice people to understand that pro-life supporters and what they do to support women? So essentially, I think what she's asking is, when you interact and talk to a pro-choice person, what's the best way to let them and understand that we as pro-lifers are pro-women, and how we can talk about that?
Sure. Well, the way I would say, typically I would say just, have a frank conversation with them. You're not going to flip someone pro-choice overnight. You might, but you may not. But something I've noticed with Let Them Live is on social media, we have actually gained a number of pro-choice supporters, which is so odd because I don't know of any other pro-life organization that has donors or followers or supporters that are pro-choice. My brother-in-law is pro-choice. He donates to us. I have a handful of people on Facebook that have just donated to the most recent fundraiser that you guys dropped the link on. And I think that bringing up Let Them Live, or what we do, is a really good way to sort of bridge the gap. If you're really trying to get someone to see that we're not like woman-hating, I've been called a fetus pimp, so maybe we're not women-hating fetus pimps. I don't know. You can talk about Let Them Live and how women feel forced into abortion because of their unfortunate financial circumstances. And if they're really pro-choice, they would really help these women to make the choice that they want to make, and that's choosing life.
Yeah, that's very well said. So Emily wants to know, kind of going branch off that, she wants to know what is, if there's more that she can do to help Let Them Live besides, in addition to donating. So how can they give more time, or how can she give more time to the organization?
Absolutely. Well, I'll definitely touch on this really quick. The more donations that we can get to Let Them Live, the more money we have to pay for, that I have to pay for bills for moms, and the more lives that we can save. So the increase in donations is directly attributed to how many lives we can save and how many lives we can impact. So that's obviously the number one way. But obviously just sharing our content, just tapping share on your Facebook or following us on social media. The bigger following we have, the more influence we have, the more women we can reach out to, the more donors we can find, the bigger of a community we can make around this new idea of financially supporting women in crisis, and also saying that, women deserve more, and being a voice for that. If you're on a college campus, I'd be happy to talk to you. If anybody wants to ask me further questions, my email is emily@letthemlive.org. You can always email me questions as well if you want specific ideas for your campus on how to be more vocal on campus as well. But definitely just sharing our content, you know, and if you're just new to the pro-life movement, I started getting involved by going outside of Planned Parenthood and standing on the sidewalk when I was in college. You can volunteer at your pregnancy center. You know, if you don't know how to get involved right away, you can definitely do that. We're hoping to start a program here in the next year that will allow like different communities to get involved in the Let Them Live mission. So stay tuned for that.
Awesome. And just like all of our other events, guys, you're doing amazing with all the questions. So Emily, we have a ton of questions coming in. So hope you have a little bit more time because they're all really good. So Rebecca, she wants to know, when founding your organization, did you find it difficult to fundraise? And do you have any tips on how to bring awareness to Let Them Live in such a way that people are willing to financially support you?
Yeah, so when we first started Let Them Live, like I had mentioned, all I knew was that I wanted to do pro-life work with my life. So I had no direction. I had no idea. My mission statement was, the Let Them Live mission statement was so vague. It really, you know, we really were doing some activism events. Like we went to Ireland to help talk to people about abortion before they voted on making that, taking the amendment out to protect life. So we did things like that, but we had a hard time fundraising. I'm not going to lie, because when you don't have a very clear mission statement, it's really hard to fundraise. And it's also hard to fundraise if people don't necessarily believe in your cause. And if people don't believe in your cause, maybe it's not because it's the cause that's wrong, it's just how you're going about it. So when we started doing the financial support for women in crisis pregnancies, we had no trouble fundraising because we're doing the work and people want to get involved with this work because there are lives being saved. And an easy way to do it is to take, 2 minutes and click that donate link and become part of it. So something like this sort of speaks for itself. And the same thing on social media. When we post a picture of a baby that would have otherwise been aborted, it just gathers support on its own, So I think that this is a really good organization. I know I'm biased, but just because the work speaks for itself, and so that's why it's so easy to fundraise. I'd be happy to talk to you more about fundraising tips and things that I've learned, but the Leadership Institute, everything I've learned for fundraising has come from LI. So definitely check out their online fundraising. I went to the International School of Fundraising a couple years ago. I want to go again this year if it's still happening, because I want to take what I've learned in the last couple years and relearn it. But Alan should talk to you guys real quick about the LI fundraising, because all the fundraising success we've had with Let Them Live is because of LI training.
Yeah, guys, visit leadershipinstitute.org and you can find all of our trainings there, including all the fundraising trainings. And I'm just glad that out of the fundraising trainings, we have organizations that come up like Let Them Live, to where you not only, your money is going to a good cause. And again, I'll remind you that the link to donate is in the chat. And I usually don't, plug donating so much during one of these, but this is just such a great cause.
Babies to save.
I know, and that's why it's so great, because you can literally see the lives that you're saving by supporting these women. And just kind of go back to the questions a little bit, Emily. So we have one from Bernadette. It says, what is the first thing you would recommend to say to anyone who approaches us as the attendees? This could be, I assume she's talking especially on college campuses, who approaches us who is abortion vulnerable.
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. So definitely, this is a really good question, because this is a situation that can really come up, especially on a college campus. Definitely being very open, very supportive, very loving, and saying, I think sometimes as pro-lifers, we sort of fixate on the fetus or the baby. And when women come to me, I try to focus in on them, because ultimately they're going to be the ones either walking in or walking out of that abortion clinic. And so we have to meet them where they're at. So if a woman comes to you that's abortion vulnerable, ask her how she is, ask her why, take her to lunch, take her to coffee, learn her as a person, get to know her, become her friend. And then she'll gain trust with you, and you are her friend because you want the best for her. So the very best thing, there's also a couple of books. There's a book, oh my goodness, It's called Crisis Pregnancy Intervention, and that's a really good book. I can't remember who it's by. It's on my bookshelf, but there's a lot of really great resources out there for how to approach these sort of situations. But also letting them know that you can support them up front. You know, if there's someone that comes to you and says, I can't have this baby, I'm in college, you can say, I'll babysit. Our whole club will babysit for you. You won't ever have to worry about finding a babysitter, or we'll do a full registry for you. You'll have everything you need. Just addressing her concerns will really, really help her to feel like, you know, like she can do it.
Yeah, that's amazing advice, especially, you know, that some people ask, you know, how can my pro-life chapter get involved outside of activism? That's one way right there.
Another way too, I just thought about is take her to get an ultrasound. I think 80 to 90% of women that see their ultrasounds don't want to go through with an abortion. So you can go with her, walk with her to the pregnancy center that's across campus, or find that mobile ultrasound bus that, you know, does ultrasounds, and take her there and show her her baby.
Yeah, is that one thing that you guys do where you encourage, like, hey, you know what, we'll bring you to an ultrasound, and then you go once you build a relationship at all?
Yeah, well, we require ultrasounds for verification of the pregnancy, but we will connect them. If they didn't come to us through a pregnancy center, we will connect them with a pregnancy center in their area that will do that ultrasound. And things, I noticed that things do sort of shift after they get that ultrasound. Things sort of feel a little bit better for them. So.
That's amazing. And since we're kind of on the topic, you brought up that that's kind of one of the prereqs that you require is the ultrasound. Esther wants to know, what does the vetting process look like when someone wants to receive support from you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously we need to make sure that they're pregnant. That's a huge part. We also, you know, our pregnancy counselor and myself and Nathan, we all talk to these women, and it's really just about getting to know them, about getting to know their situation, to feel out if it's a legitimate situation or if it's not. We haven't had any problems with this. We also have sort of an agreement that both of us sign. Just because there is financial support involved, we want to make sure that everybody is protected and that everybody is on the same page. So we definitely have those measures in place. If there's actually the mom that we're fundraising for right now that you guys linked, she lives in North Carolina, and our pregnancy counselor lives in North Carolina. So she'll be visiting her. We go to visit these moms, we build a relationship with them, and we help them throughout their pregnancy. You know, if we have women that come to us through a pregnancy center, that's a lot easier to verify. Or if we have women that are referred to us from sidewalk counselors, that's easier to verify because they're walking into the abortion clinic. So when we do have women that reach out to us, or we reach out to on social media, we do a little bit extra work into making sure that everything that they're saying is legitimate.
And again, that link that she just mentioned, it's in the chat. So how far along with the support that we're doing with the link that's in the chat, how far along is that woman in her pregnancy?
She is 17 weeks. Okay. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. And hopefully we're gonna get that solidified and help her choose life here. And I do believe she's gonna be choosing life. I don't think she's gonna have an abortion. So that's the good news. I want to just get a solid confirmation on that before I do a big announcement. But I feel very confident that she'll choose life. So.
Yeah. Okay. So Emily, Emily has a question, and we're getting a lot of questions like this, where I think more people want to get involved in helping you raise more money for this. But she wants to know, would you ever, or do you make a printable page or handout that we could take to people/businesses to see if they'd be willing to donate to the cause, and just more, and have answered frequently asked questions on there so they can have a more clear, exactly what you guys do?
Yeah, I have a few like pamphlets that kind of briefly describe what we do, but like I said, if you want to email me, is that Emily that asked that question?
Yep.
Or anybody, yeah, Emily or anybody, if you guys want to email me, emily@letthemlive.org. You can email me that request and we can put something together for you to hand out. We do have handouts for people that are like on the sidewalk or pregnancy centers that sort of detail who we help and how we can help and things like that. So I'd be happy to send anything over.
Perfect. And a few more. And guys, if I don't get to your question, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get them in. We have so many questions, so it's good. It's a good thing to have. But so just a few more, if that's okay, Emily.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So Isabel, she wants to know, is there an opportunity to be linked up with women in our local area through you who might need support during their pregnancy?
Yeah, so kind of mentioned this, but I definitely want to develop a program so that we have sort of like community ambassadors, because we definitely want women to have that full range of support. And us being in Indiana, we definitely travel to go see a lot of these moms, but it would be a lot easier to have a friend in the local community. So that's definitely an issue that we want to address and that we want to like develop a program for. So.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. And yeah, and it could be people within the community who just immediately can go to and counsel. So Luke wants to know, have you ever written any books or articles? And if you have, where can they find it to read or share from your work?
I have. Can I grab this book real quick? Am I good?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, of course. And guys, again, quick reminder. So there is a survey link in the chat. If you can click that to help us better these digital town halls in the future, so we can give you better content and better work. And then, of course, again, there is the link to support the woman who's pregnant in North Carolina that Emily has already talked about. But yeah, go ahead, Emily.
Yeah, okay. So, yes, Luke, I did write a book, and I have a bunch of, you could probably just type my name into Google if you want. There's a bunch of articles. A Jezebel article just came out, not a very friendly article from CPAC. It was a great read for me. She thought that our work was very threatening, but that means we're doing something right. So this book, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's called Shout Your Abortion to Stories of Regret. And I don't know if any of you guys have heard about the Shout Your Abortion book or the Shout Your Abortion movement, but this lady named Amelia Bonow, she had an abortion, and she made like a Facebook post about it and how amazing it was and how it was like the best decision of her life. And it went viral, and all these women started sharing these stories about how abortion was like the best thing ever. So they made a book, and it was super edgy, and it had these stories from 20 women with their pictures about like, if I didn't have my abortion, my kid wouldn't be here today, and all this stuff. It was really sad. It made me really upset. And I thought, there's an entire group of women and men who are post-abortive that are shut out of the discussion because their story doesn't fit the abortion narrative. And that's wrong. So I wrote this book, and it is literally a play on Shout Your Abortion. And it has stories from 37, I believe. It could be more, it could be less. I can't remember. I wrote this book last summer, but it has a number of stories of women and men who regret their abortions and their participation in abortions. And so you can go onto our website. It's on our shop. You can email me. We don't have it on Amazon yet, but it's a really good book. It's really intense. Some of the stories on here are just really heartbreaking. A lot of these women told me that if we had been around while they were pregnant, they would have accepted our support instead of having an abortion. And their stories need to be heard, because abortion is seen as this like normal thing, but it's not. And it hurts women and it hurts men. So yeah, check it out. It's on our website, letthemlive.org, on our shop. And, or you can email me. I'd be happy to send you a copy. I'd be happy to send a copy too to Students for Life club presidents. I would be happy to send you guys a free copy for your group, so that maybe you can base a meeting around it or something like that.
Perfect. Thank you, Emily. Again, that's at letthemlive.org. And if you're a Students for Life president, just reach out to Emily, and she'll send one out for you. So you can take a read of that while we're on this break, and you can go back next semester and have actual tangible stories of why abortion can be so harmful. So last couple questions before I let you go. So Lola says, I come from a relatively pro-choice circle, but find myself inching more and more towards the middle. And she's curious to hear, what do you think are some common misconceptions of the pro-life community and movement?
Common misconceptions. I think the one I hear the most is that we like want to oppress women. We definitely want to see women flourish and be happy and live really wonderful lives. So obviously that's not true. I think some other misconceptions, that we only care about the baby. which I think for a long time the pro-life movement has sort of fallen into that. But that's why Let Them Live exists, because we want to sort of refocus on the woman carrying the baby, because we can reach her. So I think that those are probably the two biggest ones that I hear. The other one too, this is a really big one, that all pro-life people are these Bible-thumping Christians that only talk about abortion in context in relation to God or Jesus, but that's not the case. Let Them Live is secular, so we don't talk about religion. We talk about women in crisis pregnancies and how we can help them, and that's it. The book is edited by forwarded by my friend Teresa Bukovac. Some of you might be familiar with her. She's a really good friend of Nathan's and mine. She's like a pro-life, atheist, Democrat, vegan, liberal, LGBTQ advocate who is like so passionately pro-life. So those stereotypes don't really stand up to people like Teresa or to organizations like Let Them Live. We're sort of breaking that mold. So not all pro-life people are turtleneck wearing Christians that, only think that, think that women are horrible for having sex before marriage and getting pregnant. So.
Awesome. Well, last question I have for you. So as you know, you're a field representative. So you've worked on college campuses, what that kind of culture is, and how hostile it can be as well. So what are some just words that you can give all of our attendees? Because a lot of them are college students who are or they're not on campus right now, but they will be getting back to campus in the fall and leading their group. So what are some words that you can let them know and tell them some encouraging words that they can do more on campus, or just some things that you've been through on campus to where you can maybe share some words to help them?
Yeah, you're going to face adversity. You're going to face people that have really horrible things to say about you. That never stops. So my advice is to stand firm in what you believe. If that's a daily reminder to yourself of who you're protecting and who you're fighting for, which is the most vulnerable and defenseless human beings, then do that, because the hate never stops, but you're going to meet some amazing people that are joined with you in this fight for life, that want to see women be successful with their children. So just stand strong. Never forget why you believe what you believe. Sometimes it might be tempting to just give up. I mean, I know I've had those times where I just wanted to throw it all away because it's so hard. This work is so hard. It is emotionally draining, but it is also so rewarding. I mean, look at these babies. Without that hard work, we wouldn't have had that. So just stay strong. Don't let the haters get you down. There's always going to be people trying to troll you on college campuses. But don't pay attention to that. Pay attention to the fact that you are saving lives and you're standing up for a really noble cause.
All right. Well, thank you, Emily, for not only just the amazing stories that you were able, but also the encouraging words to our attendees from our college campus. So thank you so much for joining us. Just thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys.
Perfect. All right. Well, guys, thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's talk. And just the encouraging stories and words and everything that was given by Emily. So everyone, stay healthy, stay smart, stay home if you have to, and we look forward to seeing you at our next event.
Thanks so much for watching this video. To watch our latest video, click here. And to make sure you don't miss any future videos, be sure to subscribe.